We shut down this museum, at least from this side, although they continue to be open from the other side, and I hope they will continue to be open for our anti-colonial tour in this museum later. But we shut down this street on one of the busiest weekends in New York City throughout this so-called holiday season. Even shutting down this intersection in and of itself is a feat, because they know how many of us come out to these protests. They know how many of us do not get tired, do not get restless, do not get burnt out. We have colonial propaganda that still builds itself off of the genocide of so many people, off of the ethnic cleansing, the enslavement of so many people, and they celebrate it. This is why we are standing here specifically, because we understand that this genocide does not just need an anti-war movement to stop it, but we need an anti-colonial movement. We need to decolonize Palestine.
Now you know why I was waiting so patiently. Now you know why I was waiting so patiently, terrorist lover. Oh, what did you say? I was waiting so patiently. Jew plus man, bitch.
Don't fucking dick, alright?
Your mother, something about it. Mia Khalifa, baby. She's your biggest celebrity.
Bring your mother here to a fucking show him how it is. Show you a real fucking person, bitch.
Terrorist lovers.
Shame on you!
Terrorist lovers! Shame on you!
Look at these exhibitions, parading around, mocking us as if we're all dead, as if we're all defeated, waiting for our collective genocide so they may collect our remains, our art, our culture. This is what is at stake with the current genocide in Palestine. Collectors and museums like AMNH are waiting patiently nearby to rob and trade the remnants of Palestinian art, culture, and life. They will never say it, but we know this. This is how it has always happened. We don't want to wait around for the museum to finally address Palestine when, of course, it's too late. We don't want a 50 years after Operation Al-Aqsa flood. We don't want a Palestine under the rubble exhibition. We refuse to allow the state and their allied institutions like museums to orchestrate the genocide and erasure of Palestinian people's life, culture, and resistance. Additionally, we know this museum has business with Zionist billionaire Ronald S. Lauder. Part of the Estee Lauder business empire. We know that Ronald S. Lauder is the president of the World Jewish Congress, a Zionist organization. After the commencement of Operation Al-Aqsa flood on October 7th, Lauder was quoted saying, "Now more than ever, it is imperative for us to stand as one, unified and resolute, to bolster the success of the IDF in the state of Israel during this conflict unjustly thrust upon us."
We're here in full rage and grief to proudly and loudly and unequivocally say that we support the Palestinian resistance. The end of the occupation, the end to apartheid, and demand the full right of the Palestinian people to return to their land from the river to the sea. The years-long bloodshed that the Colombian people have endured has been financed, supported, and carried out by Israeli military trained and U.S. finances. The main infantry rifles in use with the Colombian military are the Israeli weapons industry's made 5.6mm Galil automatic rifle machine gun and the 7.62mm Galil sniper rifle. More than $314 million were being spent by the Colombian government and military in buying Israeli weapons. As of October 2023, The Israeli government suspended defense sales to Colombia because our president stood against the genocide.
They will use all kinds of tactics to attempt to suppress the voices of the Palestinians and their fight for liberation. To date, up to 54 Palestinian journalists have been murdered and many more assaulted, kidnapped and censored, and they attempt to silence, but we will continue to fight and we will not be silenced. Speaking of journalists, to all the photographers that are here, I'm sure you will recognize his name. My favorite photographer, Gordon Parks, he once famously said that he used his choice of weapons, the camera, to combat all that he hated in society. Bigotry, racism, poverty, and so forth. And to the photographers and to everyone that is here, we must equip ourselves with the weapons of political education and revolutionary organizing. So join the political organization like Mexicanos, NYBR, and the many more that are out there. Equip yourself with the weapons of choice and fight for liberation. Our fight doesn't end just in the museum, or our workplace, or our homes. We must build political power to build a socialist, communist future, and we must organize.
Palestine and Puerto Rico share distinct, yet similarly disturbing histories marked by the heavy weight of colonialism and occupation. Both regions are confronted by the suppression of their autonomy, cultural identity, and socio-political rights. In Palestine, this has resulted in a prolonged occupation, displacement, and militarized violence that has imprisoned thousands of Palestinians and killed many more. In a similar manner, Puerto Rico has been confronted by violence, economic exploitation, and stripped of self-determination and sovereignty. The people of both territories have experienced the impact of external powers that seek to control their destinies, and the Palestinian people have taught us that no power can strip us of our ability to fight for the destiny of liberation! We are saying free Puerto Rico. We are saying free the Congo. We are saying free Sudan. We are saying free Haiti. We are saying free everyone!
The other workers who remain are like pushed into isolation, silencing, and threats. Every time we go to that museum to call them out, they close their doors, they close the parkside entrance, like they're literally afraid of the people who create the culture that they consume. They're deadly afraid. The museum's decades-long history of silence and ongoing silencing of any solidarity with Palestine is not so complicated. Because to demonstrate and enact solidarity with Palestine actually puts into question structures that connect police forces, investments, and settler colonial myths between the United States and Israel. And all of this is the thing that the museum celebrates every day. They had a drone fest, a mayoral drone fest 2 years ago, where literally city agencies go and they look at all the new drone technology that they're going to implement later on here in New York City. That was hosted at the new Accusations Museum. So our communities live with displacement, forced austerity, the intervention of imperialism and military occupation. And many of us continue to live with this violence of U.S. empire. Plunder, massacres, jailing, and family separations. But today we are here to bridge gaps amongst us and to be in protest of institutionalized forgetting. We honor the Palestinian martyrs, the resistors, whose lives the state of Israel cut short. We are with you, Palestine.
And this is precisely why Israeli settlers in 1948 said that the old will die and the young will forget. They were hoping that our youth do not study this history, that they don't know about their roots and the path of injustice, and that this injustice will be allowed to carry on. But no, it is youth who are on the front lines of Palestinian resistance. It is youth in Palestine who are on the front lines of Palestinian resistance. Palestinians that are younger than me. Palestinian men in their early and mid-20s who are fighting for Palestinian liberation in Gaza. As we are presidents, we have the right to go inside, but they are blocking us once again because of our support for Palestinian liberation.
As of today, 20,360 people have been brutally murdered at the hands of Israel. 1,700,000 have been displaced. 5 days ago, they called for a humanitarian pause, but they won't call for a ceasefire. And now, as of last night, while we were safe asleep in our beds, Israel launched their brutal attacks once again. They are murdering the innocent people of Gaza once again. Pausing is not enough. We want an end. We want a ceasefire. We want it now. We want an end to the occupation, an end to the ethnic cleansing, an end to the genocide. We want an end to the brutality, the bombing, and the mass massacres. It is beyond disappointing to see how blind Westerners are. I would love for them to experience the reality of walking through a 9-meter high concrete wall and being ushered through as if we are cattle. Palestine has no army, no navy, no airfare, while Israel has over 500,000 personnel and Israel ground forces, over 20,000 personnel, 64 battleships in Israel Navy forces, and 89,000 personnel and Israel airfares. They are the ones that have weapons of mass destruction. They have nuclear warheads and a budget over $20 million and the third best healthcare in the world. According to the United Nations, Palestine is now labeled as an unlivable place. Resistance is justified when people are being occupied. Today is a living example that you don't need to be Palestinian to speak out against a genocide, ethnic cleansing, occupying forces. You just need to be human. History is repeating itself again, and they are becoming who they once hated. I stand here because it could have been any one of us there. It could have been your sister, your brother, your father, your mother, your family, your friends, your school, your home. It could have been any one of us. Today, we are coming together to fight for those voices who are unable to reach the world. We have to use our voices, young and old, speak up for those who have suffered for generations. Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! We will free Palestine!
One of the people who were the main funders of the rejuvenation or renovation of the museum were the Koch brothers, who were notoriously a right-wing group of these brothers who were climate change deniers. And they donated $50 million to the museum. And this is a museum that constantly talks about climate change. It talks about protecting the Amazon, and yet it also invited not just them, but Bolsonaro to come speak as a special invited guest, and he was kidding. Let me just tell you something from behind the scenes. They claim that the invitation was never final, but I saw the paperwork. The invitation was rescinded because of the voice of the people. Never forget the strength that you have collectively. You see, this museum is really great at telling you the difference between a dinosaur and a pterosaur. But the interesting thing about it is that it's missing one incredible period of information. It is totally and completely deficient when it comes to talking about the period of time between 1492 and about 1948. Because during that colonial period of time, this museum is criminally ignorant. Now look at the police guarding this museum. Imagine if I took 20 years of your life and erased it as if it never existed and said, oh look, this is this person's life. Imagine if I took any single person in this crowd and said, oh, you know what? Let me just take 20 years out of your life and never talk about it. How come institutions like this museum, like Oxford University, like Columbia University, are such experts when it comes to talking about Aristotle and Sophocles and all the individuals like Cro-Magnon man, but you don't know what happened and you're confused about 1492. You're confused about an era of colonial